and happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Mavens of Manufacturing, the broadcast series that features the women from the shop floor all the way to the C-suite who are setting the new standards for manufacturing and engineering. Today, I'm really excited to have Gina with us. She is the growth advisor for strategy, marketing, and sales with Magnet, which is the manufacturing advocacy and growth network. Hi, Gina. How are you doing?
Hi, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
It It is a mouthful. I was struggling with it this morning when I was trying to do the promo video. I kept slipping on advocacy for some reason.
It's a tongue twister. I know I go through it every time I tell people my title and where I work.
So we do have people already saying hi. So I want to pull them up real quick. Hi, Angela. Thanks for joining us. We have Brandon who's here. He's amazing. And then we also have Dan. So thanks for joining us, everyone. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments too, because I don't want to be the only one asking questions. If you have something to say, let us know and we'll pull those up during the conversation. But Gina, I really like to start out all of my conversations with some background information about yourself. So, who is Gina and how did you get involved with Magnet?
It was a really a lucky coincidence, and also the power of your network. So my entire career, I worked first in advertising, then in
Okay.
publishing, then corporate communications and marketing. So it's always been, content and writing and communications, mainly in the B2B space and the manufacturing industrial trade industries. I did do a little foray into the B2C space. I worked for a little while at J.M. Smucker Company, also at Case Western Reserve University and PNC Bank. And what I
Okay.
found about myself is I like little companies. I like being a jack of all trades. I don't like being a little cog in a big corporate wheel that if you disappear off the face of the earth tomorrow, the machine keeps grinding on. Uh,
Hmm.
so during COVID, I lost my position. There was a layoff of 60 people at our company. And then through my network on LinkedIn and also through Twitter, there's a wonderful Twitter chat on Thursdays called USA Manufacturing Hour. And it's a really strong, tight network of people in the manufacturing space. And we have become so close. And I saw Dan Bigger joined us. He's one of the founders of that Twitter chat. Um, that one of the people from the chat said, "Hey, give me your resume. I'm going to post it to my network on LinkedIn." And a woman who worked part time as a subcontractor for Magnet saw that. She forwarded it to my boss and said, "Hey, I think she'd be perfect for your team." Well, my boss and I had just talked 3 or 4 months earlier because I wanted to see if he could help the company that I was with. And he's like, "I know Gina. I didn't know she was available." So he calls me up, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. I think that's one of my favorite things about LinkedIn is I'm part of this group, this after hour group that meets everyone on Friday. And I was able to join last Friday, and LinkedIn came up, and the question was, why is it hard for some people to find a job if they don't have one? And one of the answers was they aren't networking hard enough or on LinkedIn networking. And I feel like that platform provides such an easy opportunity for anyone who's looking for a job to get connected to the right people. And it helps you so much faster to find opportunities out there. So that's really cool that you had that experience. And Dan is on here. I'm loving seeing all the networking happening in the comments as well too. We have Whitney on here and Valerie that just joined, and they're all talking about yay, happy U.S. manufacturing hour. I haven't been able to check too much of that show out, so I'll have to do that going forward because I heard it is a great platform to check out. Um, in terms of Magnet, it is a long acronym. It was a tongue twister, but what is its main mission in Ohio. I know it's one of the MEPs, and for those who don't know that acronym, it's Manufacturing Extension Partner, and there's MEPs all over the United States. Some states even have multiple um, extension partnerships, and I believe you said it's one of Ohio's
Mhm.
extension partnerships. So how many does Ohio have, and what is Magnet's specific mission compared to the other ones?
In Ohio, because Ohio is large and also
Hmm.
has a heavy concentration of manufacturers, we actually have 5 MEPs in Ohio.
Wow.
Magnet is the largest, and the greatest concentration of manufacturers are in the Cleveland area. So our 24 county territory covers a large portion of the manufacturers in the area. What we do is we're a nonprofit, we're mission driven, and we're funded by the state and also by NIST, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. All MEPs are funded that way.
Okay.
And we are also funded by grants, and we work with small and medium sized manufacturers to help them grow and improve their business. And the end result of that is growing the economy and creating jobs. So that's really Magnet's mission. We serve all, and the other unique value proposition of Magnet as opposed to other MEPs is that we have full service capabilities. So we have divisions within Magnet that include operations, engineering, startup, sales, marketing, cybersecurity, workforce. And so we can walk into a manufacturer holistically and help
Okay.
with lean on the plant floor and also with marketing in the office and with sales training and coaching. So not all MEPs offer the same services. It really
Hmm.
more tailored to what the need is in their area.
That's really cool. So are you then, because manufacturing is so broad and it falls across a variety of industries, does Magnet touch all of those industries, or are there more types of So does Ohio have more aerospace involved? Is it more like what sort of industries are you helping with or involved with?
We touch all of them. A lot of my clients seem to be in the automotive, aerospace, and
Okay.
medical device space. But we work with startups. We work with people who are just making these really new, unique uh, products that don't exist. And we help try to take their product to market. We help with pitch decks and finding funding and investors and um, helping with their go to market strategy, pricing strategy. So it really runs the gamut. I love that's what I love about Northeast Ohio. There's so much cool stuff being made here, and
Hmm.
you don't even realize it. You know, you drive by these industrial parks and you have no idea what's going on behind those walls. And so part of our mission is to tell the stories of those manufacturers and bring this industry to light. You know, we really uh, are invested in STEM programs and really the affecting and influencing the mindset of people around manufacturing and jobs in manufacturing.
I'm really excited to come there in August. There's a More Than Manufacturing Expo that's happening, and I've never been to the area, but I know quite a few people that are there, and they all work in manufacturing, and I'm excited to see like what the city looks like and who the manufacturers are and get to know their stories a little bit more. Um, so you specifically are their growth advisor, and you commented already on some of the things that you help small medium sized manufacturers do. Is there anything else in terms of like their marketing and or sales strategies that you're helping them with specifically? Like
Mhm.
what are they having a hard time with in terms of those areas?
Well, the things I already mentioned are more Magnet as a whole, how we
Okay.
help. But Magnet is structured where we have practice areas, and each practice area employs growth advisors that have experience and specialization in those areas. So mine happens to be marketing, so I'm in the strategy, marketing, and sales practice. Although I have gone through Sandler sales training and I know enough to be dangerous, and I am also helping clients with sales assessments and some voice of customer work. But the majority of what I do is I help clients with creating strategic plans, doing primary and secondary market research, um, building or rebuilding or redesigning their websites, logo work, even updates and refreshes to logos or creation of a new logo for a startup, brand guidelines, and then we do longer term digital marketing strategy like lead generation, search engine optimization, pay per click campaigns, ongoing content like blogs, lead magnets, white papers. And then we also help with keywords and competitor research, email marketing, social media, pretty much anything you could think of from a marketing perspective, I handle. And then on the sales side, we do a lot of sales assessments, sales coaching and training, development of salespeople, and just helping them sell better.
So are you becoming an addition to their marketing and sales department, or is it more of like just a helping hand? And then once they have a good plan in place and a strategy in place, you don't leave completely, but you're still there in case they need any further assistance.
A little of both. Sometimes we do one small project. Someone needs market research, and that's a 4 week engagement, and that project is delivered, and that's the end of our engagement. But we have repeat clients who come back to us the next need they have. They might call you in a year and say, hey, I need help with this. Then I have longer term clients that I'll do a 12-month engagement with, and we'll manage their lead generation for a year. And then at the end of that year, they can have the opportunity to renew that contract. I also work as almost an incremental marketing manager embedded in the company. So I currently have a couple clients that I'm doing their marketing work for them, which involves like writing a blog once a month, doing an e-newsletter once a month and sending that out, writing and posting to their LinkedIn account, and then doing their monthly analytics. So they don't have an in-house marketing person, so they sort of subcontract that out to me, and I do that maintenance work for them.
I think that's really interesting because a lot of manufacturers that I've gotten to know over the years through my technical writing, um, very few have reached out, from my experience, to MEPs to get that marketing help. And you're not exactly like a marketing agency, but almost a
Mhm.
little bit. So is there something unique for that MEPs offer over marketing agencies to help manufacturers with their marketing and their sales? And what would that be?
Yes, that's a great question. So some of the larger projects, like a lead generation campaign for a year, I have
Hmm.
to rely on subcontractors. So I will actually bring in service partners who will help me
Okay.
execute that project. Um, and the beauty of it is, you have a marketing agency that knows their stuff with regard to like Google and ranking, and they know all the nuances. But then you have me project managing that entire project, and I've got the marketing experience, but I've also got the manufacturing expertise. So I'm looking at it through the lens of a manufacturer and making sure that what is being done is best representative of that client in that industry. Also, because we're an MEP nonprofit, we often have grants or are able to cost share a portion of the project. So if you go to market with an agency, you'll pay agency rates. And not that we're necessarily cheaper, Sometimes the resources and the number of people you need to manage a project for a year and do web development and content and SEO and all those moving pieces um, can take a lot of resources. But
Hmm.
oftentimes we're able to underwrite some of that cost for our clients, depending on the funding available. And we also have a vetted network of service partners. So you're not just hiring someone off the street that you Googled or you found them online. It's somebody that I trust, I've worked with, they're vetted, and we make sure that we only bring in quality people that we know are going to do the best work.
And I think that experience within manufacturing is really helpful too, because there are a lot of companies that I've done work with where they were really disappointed in the help that they were getting from certain marketing agencies because they just did not have that subject matter expertise, and they didn't know how to ask the right questions to really get it from the company's subject matter experts. So it was a long relationship with a lot of time wasted because they didn't know how to ask the right questions because they're not involved in manufacturing all the time. So
Exactly.
I think that's a really good point that you brought up. And anyone listening, if you're having problems in your marketing or sales department, check who your MEPs are in your states and see if they can offer some of the similar services.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody at Magnet, I mean, all the growth advisors have a manufacturing background. So even me doing marketing, I've done that in the B2B space for manufacturers. So you really do know how to talk the talk, and you understand milling, drilling, boring, lathing. You know what an EDM is, and a CNC, and you can talk about the different kinds of equipment and processes, and that really adds a lot of value.
yeah, Ian agrees. He was like, exactly, Megan, manufacturers feel so much more comfortable when their marketers have the industry experience. I
Mhm.
really agree with that. And Whitney said helpful advice. And from all of your experience that you have, Gina, is there anything in particular that you've seen manufacturers struggle with the most when trying to market their brand story to their customers and even to their local communities? Is there something that pops out the most for you?
Yes, pretty consistently, I see that, especially with smaller and medium-sized manufacturers, they're great at making things, but
Mhm,
often they don't have the inside resources like a trained sales force or anyone who does marketing. A lot of the manufacturers I go into, it's the sales manager or the CEO and president who's maintaining the website and sending out the email. So often they really need fundamental foundational work, an assessment, a marketing plan created, some strategy, and then to have that executed on. That's where we're able to help. And when they're smaller, their greatest, and especially with workforce issues nowadays, their
mhm,
greatest challenges are resources, which include budget and time and people. And
mhm.
so we can help come in at a decent budget. We can give our time, we can supply the people, and a lot of times it takes that off their back. It's one less thing they have to worry about, so they can dedicate themselves to the business of manufacturing.
And what about voice of customer? Why is that so important for small to medium-sized manufacturers?
Yeah, when we go in and do a sales and marketing assessment for an organization, we always ask them to provide about 5 to 8 companies and contacts, including happy, satisfied customers, not so happy, disgruntled customers, lost customers that maybe they did work with 10 years ago and haven't engaged with since then, and also sometimes potential customers, people they want to go after, but they have not done any business with. And then
Okay.
we interview those people. We actually gauge their perceptions of the company, of their product, of the industry, and we find out their pain points. And that helps us put together a sales and marketing plan for the client. And you would not believe how candid and forthcoming people are. They're willing to be interviewed. We set aside an hour and they'll just keep talking for an hour and a half or more, because they feel like they're helping. They're making
Mhm.
a difference. They're giving feedback that could potentially save a company from going under or help it
Yeah.
expand and do more. And so that's really integral, because a lot of times they don't tell you what they really think, but like this third party neutral person, they'll spill the beans, and we get so many incredible insights that we can take back to the client to help them really kind of sometimes adjust their way of doing business to not lose certain customers or to gain new customers.
I think that's really important too. We have a couple of comments. Whitney said, yes, the fundamental work takes so much time that cannot be overlooked. And then Dan said, feedback is always good, the bad, and the ugly. And that makes me think, are you seeing manufacturing companies that are afraid of this feedback? I was just going to mention something about that. I used to work with companies who always wanted to take the negative comments down or the negative reviews down. So have you seen that where manufacturing companies are afraid to hear that feedback or even, make it public or talk about it?
No, often they come to us because they're struggling. So we know something's broke. We don't know how to fix it. We don't know what. We need help. And they come to Magnet because they need help. And
Mhm.
they are, at least all the clients I've dealt with, are more than willing to face the hard facts, even if it's not complimentary. And because they know they have, most of the leadership I've dealt with have a very open mindset. They're coming into this saying, how can we get better?
That's
And
great.
that feedback, that really honest feedback, is what they're looking for. They're not looking for the pat on the back. They're
Right.
looking for those hard conversations that are going to be integral to their future.
I think that's really good that they're open to that because the successful companies are going to be the ones that listen to that, constructive criticism to grow and make themselves better, like you said before. Um, with that feedback, have you ever helped turn it into like a customer testimonial or case study? I know that's one thing some manufacturers like to highlight on their websites and generate educational content that way, but it can be a challenge because a lot of companies who do offer it don't want that information dispersed because of NDAs. Do you have any advice on how to maybe take that information that they have an NDA for and turn it into something they can share with people who are looking at their site and wanting to be educated more on their services?
We do exactly that. What we do is these voice of customer interviews, we record them. We
Okay.
turn over transcripts of those conversations to the client, and we call out and highlight some pieces of information that we found really insightful or that could be repurposed and used for your marketing plan. Because oftentimes those conversations really influence your long-term strategy. We have had call outs of quotes like testimonials. Hey, that would be great for the website. This client says uh, this product stops time and gives these benefits to my food. Let's use that. And so we have done that with clients. We've made recommendations where they could use some of the content to inform their marketing. If we're going to continue on an engagement with a client and continue to do the work for them that we
Mhm.
recommend, then we also a lot of times go back and refer to those transcripts and pull out little tidbits that could be of value or could help us with creating a content and editorial calendar.
That's really great. So, in terms of some of the newest trends that are coming up, I like to always try to keep up to date what's happening within marketing and sales and technology. What are some of the things you're seeing on your end that manufacturers are implementing with either their sales strategies or their marketing strategies or both that are really having a strong effect?
Yeah, I really see, I go into so many different manufacturing companies that I really get a bird's eye view of that.
Hmm.
And what I can say is most of the manufacturers that I work with are not often advanced in implementing new trends, or especially in their marketing area. Often we're starting from scratch to put something in place. You know, you go into a company and their CRM is an Excel spreadsheet. And so they have no CRM, they're not doing any kind of customer nurturing. And so that's one area that they need help with. But there's a trend that I'm seeing lately, two trends. One is a lot of manufacturers who were traditionally in a certain industry, for instance,
Hmm.
automotive, and they machine parts for the automotive industry. They're starting to look at other industries, like aerospace or medical, in order
Hmm.
to grow into a new market. So we help them with that. Often they need market research, they need ISO certifications, training, they need a new machine built because the machine that they have currently can't handle certain tolerances or capacity. Um, so we help with all of that. The other area I'm really seeing a huge trend in, which we also help with, is because of the workforce issue. People
Hmm.
can't get qualified, trained people. They're starting to move toward robotics and
Hmm.
automation, and especially cobots. So we help them design and install cobot systems that will help them, have one operator do the work of two, because they're using technology that's available.
Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't know you were getting involved with the actual technology and helping companies implement that. And I think that's an area where I see some companies struggling. They don't know where to start in terms of how to automate their processes. So if you're able to help them with that, that's really advantageous for them to get a competitive edge too, because I feel like that's where everything's going now. Everything's gonna be automated in some form or fashion. And I think the pandemic really helped with the crossing over into the industries because a lot of companies, right when the pandemic hit, they thought they were going to be in trouble, so they adapted to either help the cause by making products for the ventilators or
Mhm.
PPE products or hand sanitizer, like some of the uh, breweries switched to making hand sanitizer for a little bit to help with that cause. So that's really interesting to see, you know, the expansion in different areas than what they're used to. Well, Gina, I really want to thank you for coming on and sharing what you do at Magnet. And my final question to you, if you had one ask for our audience, what would that ask be?
Well, it's funny that your question kind of takes the conversation full circle, because we talked at the beginning about networking and the
Hmm.
power of your network. So, my ask would be, first of all, network, network, network. But when you do, make sure you're doing it with a servant mentality. Not what's in it for me, but how can I help? How can I pay it forward and take my network, my experience, everything I know, and leverage that to help other people? Be authentic. I mean, authenticity goes a long way, and we can change the world one person at a time. Someone helps me, maybe I don't help them back, but I help someone else. And so we pay it forward and we end up being, stronger and richer for it.
I love that. I love being the connector between some bridges. And if I can't help someone, but then I meet someone else that can, I try to keep a running like log of, okay, I know this person in this area. How can I connect them with this person in that area. And Whitney agrees. She says servant mentality is great. And I agree. Well, if anyone in our audience has more questions about magnet or how, if they're in Ohio and they need help, how can they connect with you or the magnet organization?
Yeah, my contact information. I mean, people can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to accept a connection request. My email at Magnet is my first initial last name, so G Tabasso at manufacturingsuccess.org. And our website is manufacturingsuccess.org. So if you want to know more about Magnet, you can go to the website. But I also have a link to all the MEP centers in the United States. And we even know people at all of those MEPs. So if you're not in Ohio, I'd be happy to connect you to your local MEP.
That'd be great. Where exactly are you located in Ohio? Are you in Cincinnati?
No, we're in Cleveland. There's a different MEP down in Southern Ohio.
Okay. Um, if you sign up for the More Than Manufacturing Expo or happen to stop by, let me know because I would love to connect with you and meet you in person. And
I'd love that
anyone
too.
else that shows in August at the end of August. So I'll make sure to share that link out too. But Gina, thank you again so much for joining us on Mavens of Manufacturing. I really appreciate our conversation. And if there's anything I can help you with, let me know because like you mentioned, I really like helping other people out and connecting those bridges for people. And for all of you that commented below and asking questions and your feedback, thank you so much. I hope you all have a great weekend and make sure to tune in next week again for another new episode of Mavens of Manufacturing. Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Everyone, bye.
This episode of Mavens has been sponsored by Fresh Horizons Group. Fresh Horizons Group is a family-run company that was founded on the premise of helping organizations and businesses better tell their story through high-quality branded apparel and promotional items. Freshen up your brand by contacting Fresh Horizons today at freshhorizonsgroup.com.